Yeah, the Cubs did win, so that's a good thing. Absolutely fabulous. Kyle Schwarber hit a 3-run triple in the highlight of a 5-run 7th inning for the Chicago Cubs. And since we're doing overtime on the scores of the baseball games, and since we did weather on the fives already past in half-hour mark, we will do weather on the fives coming up after next hour. So we'll do weather on the fives after next hour. Okay? So we'll do that right about 5 after. Remember, weather on the fives, anytime that ends in 5, 5, 15, 25, 35, 45, or 55 minutes past the hour on GJRB Online. Meanwhile, Philadelphia Phillies beat the Reds, Cincinnati Reds, 7-1 yesterday. Raz Hopkins drove in 3 runs and 2 homers, and Bryce Harper and Scott Kingley also added. It was the Cardinals beating the Giants 3-1. Again, the Cubs beating Mariners 5-1. They play again tonight, 7:05 against those same Mariners. Astros beating the Brewers 3-2. Look at Diamondbacks. They really slaughtered down on the Padres 14-7. Oh, brother. 11-3 for Indians. They beat over the Indians beat the White Sox. Oh, man. I know someone who's going to be really mad at my sister-in-law. The Indians beat the White Sox 11-3. Carlos Santana, not the singer. Carlos Santana homered. Fremel Reyes with a 3-run double. And the Cleveland Indians defeated the White Sox 11-3. Oh, look at this score. Dodgers beat the Rockies. They slaughtered them too, 16-9. Need a couple of football game scores here. Jock Patterson homered twice and drove in 5 runs before running into a right field wall. Ooh, that's not good. A right field wall. Good grief. So there's some of the scores, and again, tonight, let's see, some of the games coming up tonight. Let's go back to the some of the games playing tonight. Tonight, Baltimore plays Tampa Bay, Texas at New York, Philadelphia plays Cincinnati, Baltimore playing Tampa Bay, New York against Washington, and Miami. Pittsburgh Pirates are going to play Miami. And those are some of the ones coming up. And let's take a look at the standings. On top of the American League, the Yankees are 80-49. In second place, Tampa Bay, 81-58. Boston, 74-63. Toronto, 55-84. And Baltimore is 45-92. In the AL Central, Minnesota's on top. They're in first place, 85-52. Take a look at Cleveland. They're in second place, followed by the White Sox in third. In the AL West, Houston is on top. And let's take a look at the National League real quick. In the National League, Atlanta's on top in the NL East. In the NL Central, we got the Cubs in second place above St. Louis. Come on, Cubs. What is up with you guys? You guys are like 3 games behind St. Louis. St. Louis right now is in first place. Cubs are in second, Milwaukee in third, Cincinnati in fourth, and Pittsburgh is in the basement. Why doesn't that surprise me any? 17 games behind, too. Oh, jeez. Come on, guys. What happened to Pirates? They used to be good. Anyway, National League West, Los Angeles Dodgers, they're on top. Arizona Diamondbacks, they are 18 games behind. 22 games behind for San Francisco. San Diego in fourth place. And in the basement, Colorado Rockies with 30.5 games behind, so they can't catch up. But let's go. The Cubs need to get some games. They need to win today, tomorrow. I mean, what's up with these guys, man? Today, at least today, they got to win today. They play the Mariners tonight, and they are off tomorrow. So let's see what they can do Because, when the Cubs are off, here's the thing. When the Cubs are off, they lose a lot of chances to get on top in the Central, because when you're off and your rival team is playing and wins, you just kind of sunk. Because geez, come on, it's just that simple. When you guys lose, come on. So the Cubs need to win tonight, and they did good. They did good against the Mariners yesterday, so let's see what they can do tonight. Chicago Cubs baseball, and of course on our 9-foot closed circuit signal, you can hear it. Let's see, tomorrow off. I don't know. We're going to try and get a few more Cubs broadcast on our 9-foot signal as if they get on top of things. But if they don't, we're not going to bother carrying the games on that station. Meanwhile, back in the jungle, why don't we get back into some tunes? Time to take a tune break and start off another 50 minutes of nonstop music. Coming up next hour, more great music that I promised you. Some of the new emerging artists we're going to play and get a lot of those in there. Coming up next hour right here on GJRB Online. Yeah. Got news coming up right after Chris Montez.
Hey baby, won't you take a chance? Say that you'll let me have this dance. Listen. We'll do the twist, the stomp, the mashed potato too. Any old dance that you wanna do. But listen. Hey baby, yeah, you throw me so. Hold me tight, don't you let me go. But listen. We'll do the twist, the stomp, the mashed potato too. Any old dance that you wanna do. But listen. Okay, well now. Oh yeah. Hey baby, if you're all alone, maybe you'll let me walk you home. But listen. We'll do the twist, the stomp, the mashed potato too. Any old dance that you wanna do. But listen. Hey baby, things are swinging right. Yes, I know that this is a night. Listen. We'll do the twist, the stomp, the mashed potato too. Any old dance that you wanna do. But listen.
Gary J in the morning on GJRB Online on Spreaker across America. 11:56, 4 minutes before the top of the hour of 12 o'clock noon Central Time as our morning's ending. But over in the Mountain Time Zone, it's still morning yet at 10:56, and it's 9:56 Pacific Time. I'm Gary J. Russell with you. Gary J in the morning. Got some more great music coming up and one more hour yet to go as we wrap up the Gary J in the morning show for the Central Time Zone, and finishing up for all the Pacific people as well, ending the show at 11 o'clock Pacific Time. Gary J. Russell with you on GJRB Online. Let's wrap up our show and have our last newscasts and do that right now. And some of the stories we're covering for you in the GJRB News Desk. As we talked about last hour yesterday, there's an armed robbery locally here in Clinton at the Pizza Ranch here in Clinton, Iowa. And police are investigating that robbery. And let's see, where you have a story on this from Channel 8. And I'm hoping that it'll work this hour, because last half hour, we did not get that story. So we're hoping maybe it'll work this time. can't guarantee it, but let's see what we can do with this. It's loading up right now, so we're going to see if we can get this. An investigation into what happened at Pizza Ranch yesterday. Let's see here. This story, if it works. And there's an investigation going on here.
Circuit
Okay,
21.
well-
Enjoy grand dining.
Wait till that commercial's over. Meanwhile, talk about the other stories that are following the news today. Hurricane Dorian is expected to reach up into the north. We'll talk about that coming up. And now here's that story about that robbery yesterday at the Pizza Ranch. As soon as this loads up, it's going to be a pistol today. Look at this. That story if it's buffering like that, more than likely this story probably got taken down. I'm thinking, because by now it would have come up, and I'm thinking that it's not there. But anyway, just to say it's under investigation. This story is not working. Okay, so we're just going to have to say goodbye to it. Meanwhile, let's take a look at some other stories nationwide here. Some of the stories we got coming up here. Since that should really use my stick that I use for this. Hurricane Dorian is going to batter the Bahamas. We already know that. Let's see what we got here. Let's see. Governor of Odessa, Texas says the shooting suspect previously failed to a gun background check. Okay, so this is some of the last stories we're covering for you in our last newscast. Cory Booker is going to unveil a $3 trillion climate change plan, creating an environmental justice fund. Cory Booker. That ought to be an interesting one. Let's check that story out real quick. I want to go to that, because this is an interesting story. My last newscast, of course, is a casual newscast. And a cup of coffee, we chat, talk about the news. So you're welcome to join on this one. So if you are listening live, please stick around. It's 12 o'clock noon right now, Central Daylight Time. 12 o'clock noon right now, Central Daylight. It's 11 o'clock in the mountains, and it is 10 a.m. Pacific. And you're listening to the Gary J. in the Morning Show here on GHRB Online as we're entering into our last hour. Of course, like I said before, the final hour of the Gary J. in the Morning Show, as the morning is ending in the Central Time Zone. Already ended in the Eastern Time Zone at 1:01 Eastern. But we still got quite a bit going on here. 10 o'clock 01 in the Pacific, 8 o'clock a.m. in Alaska. Here we go. Cory Booker, let's see, Presidential Senator Cory Booker. He's a hoper. He's really interesting one. He said Tuesday that he's sweeping a $3 trillion plan to combat climate change, calling this to accelerate the end of fossil fuels and achieve 100% carbon-free electricity by 2030. He said the costly and controversial Green New Deal, which Booker co-sponsored in a form of a Senate resolution. Booker's plan aims at addressing both climate change and economic inequality. Sanders released a $16 trillion deal, plan promoting to pay for itself. Yeah, okay. How about that? It's interesting. We have a video report coming up here, so we're going to see if we get the audio. And again, it's buffering, so I can't say whether we'll get the audio or not. So why don't we just unhook that? So because if it plays, then it won't play on the air. To the end, and of course, the end of this real deal threat: climate change, and to create more than just a country for everyone, we must heal these past mistakes and act boldly to create green and equitable future. And that's exactly what we're going to do exactly what he's going to do as president, according to Booker. And there's a video here, but it's just buffering. It's not doing anything at this point. So the heck with that one. Some of the other stories we'll cover throughout the day, and of course you can listen to all the news on your local stations. The network news at 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central, and on the internet as well. News when you need it, bottom and top of the clock daily. GJRB News. I'm Gary J. Russin at the GJRB News Desk, and we're heading into the final part of our show. We'll be right back after station identification. This is the GJRB Online Network.